Hello folks, my name is Mark, this is Why I Hate the World. How you guys doing? This is things I do not care about for September of 2016, the last day of September. So let's jump right into it. Number one, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie got divorced. I don't give a shit about that. I have absolutely zero to say about that except to say that I just don't care. What else? The iPhone 7 doesn't have a headphone jack. And, right, people are losing their minds over this, you know, and, I guess the only way you can listen to music is with these ridiculous earring looking things. They look stupid, and, you know, but you're an idiot for buying an iPhone anyway, because iPhone is a piece of shit. And just, you know, that's just my opinion, because I don't really like Apple or Apple products, you know, for the main reason being is I don't like iTunes. I think, you know, it's a pretty good phone. It just sucks that you have to use iTunes to transfer shit back and forth on it, and I despise iTunes. I don't use iTunes. iTunes is a fucking laggy piece of shit that takes 3 hours to install, and then, you know, you try to set up PayPal to be your thing, your preferred payment thing, and it doesn't even fucking work, and it's like, fuck iTunes, and, you know, and fuck Apple, dude. Fucking Apple sucks. I use Android, so whatever. I did think that little joke that went around where people were like drilling into their iPhones in order to put an iPhone jack and like people fell for that shit. I thought that was pretty funny, but anyway, fuck iPhones. Let's see, what else? Tim Tebow, just don't care about Tim Tebow. Apparently he's in the news again, like he's playing football this time or baseball or some shit, I don't even know. Fuck Tim Tebow, who gives a shit about him? Let's see. Let's get into some politics here. Gary Johnson is an idiot, right? Apparently he was on an interview and he didn't know that Aleppo was the capital of Syria. To be honest, I didn't know that either. I mean, if you were to ask me what is Aleppo, you know, what's Aleppo the capital of, I wouldn't have known. But then again, I'm not running for president, okay? You know, someone who wants to be the leader of the country should know shit like that, you know. He should have more than just a layman's knowledge of, you know, geography, all right? And, you know, capitals of different countries and, you know, especially ones that are, like, in the middle of a crisis like that, right? Also, in another interview a few days ago, he was unable to name a current world leader, like... Chris Matthews asked him, like, who's your favorite world leader? And he couldn't name one. But not only, it wasn't that he couldn't name his favorite, he couldn't name a current sitting world leader. That's kind of fucking ridiculous. It's like, just name one, you know, Angela Merkel, there's one. I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, here's another thing is that, you know, I'm not like an expert on that shit either. I can't tell you, like, you know, the president of each country on the earth, but I'm not running for president, you know. He should know these things. If he's running for president, he should know who you know, maybe, like, who's the fucking Prime Minister of England, you know? He should know this stuff, right? You know? I mean, come on, man. Fucking read a book, right? And I know it's because he's a libertarian, and libertarians are isolationist, and they don't give a shit about the rest of the world, but, you know, still, if you're going to be the president of the United States, this is the kind of shit that you should brush up on, right? Let's see. More politics. Donald Trump's Jr., made this Skittles tweet in regards to terrorism and Syrian refugees, and it just so happens that his tweet has roots in the Third Reich. So if you haven't heard about this, basically he tweeted out a thing saying, you know, what if I told you there were 3 poison Skittles in this bowl? Would you still eat them? You know, and he compared that to, like, Syrian refugees. Like, it only takes a few of them, right? What he didn't know was that comparison originally came from a children's book written in the 1930s in Germany, and it was originally about Jews, saying all it takes is one Jew to come to your country and ruin everything. You know, this fucking, like, Nazi children's book. And to be fair, I don't think that, you know, Donald Trump Jr. is a Nazi. I don't think he had any idea where this originally came from. What I do think is that he is in touch with those circles. Like what I mean by that is, so you see a lot of like memes and stuff getting tweeted by Donald Trump and by his son, things like with Pepe the Frog, and that kind of shit, right? And the news is like going nuts over that, and a lot of them happen to just have a little bit of a white supremacist slant to it, right? And I don't think that Donald Trump knows where the shit comes from, but I do think his son knows, because his son is of the right age group, right? And he's like in his late 20s, I believe, early 30s maybe. That's the right age group to know what 4chan is. I mean, I would bet that he knows what 4chan is. I would bet that he knows what poll is and stuff like that, right? And I mean, of course he might not, but then again, he's one of the idle rich, right? He's a guy that has a lot of time on his hands, right? And I would not doubt it at all that if he was at least had a more than a passing familiarity with those circles. So my guess is that he saw this on a board somewhere, thought it was awesome, and retweeted it, and didn't know where it originally came from, right? So that's that's the thing, is that if you're just a normal person doing this shit on Facebook, it doesn't make that much of a difference. But if your father is running to be president, shit like this should be vetted first, because it makes you look like a fucking white supremacist. I don't know. I don't think he is. I don't think he personally, I don't think he is a white supremacist. I think he's just, conservative, right? And the conservatives have just been fucking taken over by white supremacist bullshit, and it's hard to separate them out. That's what I think. Geez. Anyway, speaking of Pepe the Frog, yeah, so apparently Pepe has hit the mainstream now, and it's like this big thing, and everybody thinks that Pepe the Frog is like a symbol for white nationalism, which is not exactly true. It's Pepe the Frog is a meme for those of you who are not in the know. For those of you who are older than 30, right, and don't know about this shit, it was a meme created by a guy that ran a webcomic, right, and it became the sad frog meme. Just search for that. Basically, it's a sad frog with the words "feels bad man" next to it, right? And that became a thing. And then people started making variants of it, of Pepe doing all this weird shit. And some of them are like truly bizarre. Like I saw one where like Pepe's body was the entire room, and like legs and shit were coming out of the walls. It was like, some of them are just like beyond weird, And a lot of these get shared on boards like 4chan and 8chan and things like that. And it just so happens that the political board on 4chan is just overrun by white supremacists because, because it started as a joke, is what it started as. And then, it slowly became real because there's little moderation on there. Like, basically the only thing they moderate against is like child porn, and stuff that's illegal. And if it's not illegal, it's allowed. And there's like, so it became like this haven for like white supremacists and Nazis and shit, right? Because any place on the internet that isn't moderated, basically that's what happens. Okay, it becomes, these people, they're attracted to that kind of thing, right? And so they kind of have created a lot of racist memes using Pepe the Frog, right? But it's not inherently racist in itself. It's just that this group over here happens to be using them. So it's kind of like if I were to like, make some fan art of Mickey Mouse dressed up as a stormtrooper stomping on a baby or something, right? Then, you couldn't say that, well, Mickey Mouse is inherently racist. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, no, just one group is using it for that. But, the mainstream doesn't know this shit. So now you have like articles on CNN explaining it to people, and Hillary Clinton put it on her website, that Pepe the Frog is, this symbol for white nationalism. And I think there was actually, I think it was a Simon Wiesenthal Center, or the Anti-Defamation League. That's what it was. The Anti-Defamation League has included Pepe the Frog as a hate symbol, right? And that's not right at all. It's that it's just that he's just being used by hate groups. So anyway, what else? Speaking of 4chan, all right. After the debate, right? 4chan went nuts, went out there and started trolling all of the online polls out there. And like there's, for example, there's this big graphic where they're all talking about it, this one thread where they're talking about it, and they're just listing all these different online polls and telling people how to go get, you know, the grease monkey scripts to go, like, you know, rig them, right, so that they can go vote, like, you know 100 times each or some shit, so that they can skew it. And it's funny because in the discussion, there's other people saying that you're no better than CTR, right? Which, if you don't know what CTR is, it's Correct the Record, which is Hillary Clinton's online outreach program, right? And CTR has become this thing where everybody thinks that you're just a paid shill working for Hillary and that you're, you know, blah, 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 which is not like that at all. Like, basically what they do is they go and make online ads and shit like that. That's what CTR does. You know, but everybody thinks that they're like infiltrating the internet and stuff. So, you know, so these guys figure, all right, well, we're going to counter it, right? And it's funny watching the discussion for some people saying that you're no better than you're no better than the other side, you're no better than the liberals, right? And then people on the Trump side saying that we need to make America great, and they're showing, you know, comparisons of the online polls. And it's funny because it's like in some of them Hillary was winning until these guys came and like skewed them all. Right, so now all these polls say that Trump won, while all the other real polls, the scientific polls and the snap polls and all the polls that they couldn't fuck with, say that Hillary won. Right, and, you know, now Donald Trump thinks that he won because these guys went and fucked up all the internet polls. Right, so now their candidate, it's like they're influencing their own candidate. Their bullshit, like, you know, machine is like fucking up their own candidate. So now he thinks he won, so now in the next debate he's gonna do the exact same shit and he's gonna lose again. It's just fucking hilarious, man. Like, I don't know, man, people are just nuts. Right, and this I think people are gonna look back on this election and just be like, what the fuck happened? And I hope the next election is normal compared to this. I don't know, that's topic for another video. One last thing, and I think this may just be because it's Halloween, but in several states back east, people are dressing up as clowns and walking around in the woods, like in Mississippi and some other places, North Carolina, shit like that. People are dressing up, and I don't know where this is coming from, but there's multiple reports of this all around this large area of people dressing up as creepy clowns with evil clown masks and like machetes and shit, and walking around in the woods and trying to like get children to follow them and shit like that, right? And it's causing like panic. And it's just fucking hilarious. It's like, what the fuck? And there's got to be somewhere out there, some kind of board out there, some you know, some place where these people are like fucking, you know, coordinating this shit and posting pictures and trying to get in the news or whatever. Because it's like something out of a bad horror movie. Like, you see pictures of him and it's like this clown on the side of the road, like he's Pennywise from It or something, you know. And there's like news, like on the news, like sheriffs of like these little towns going, you know, don't let me catch you, I don't want to like have to shoot you and shit. And it's just funny. It's like one of these days, one of these fucking clown dudes is going to get blown away by like a scared parent at a playground. Like, they're going to come up and start like, you know, trying to give candy to children. Some dude's going to get his shotgun and blow his face off. It's like, I don't know. I think this shit's hilarious, but it's like, dude, what are you doing? Okay, the joke's over. And it's starting to hit dangerous territory. So, I don't know, folks. Everybody's insane. Adios.